G'day guys and gal. Space Marines are generally pretty bloody loyal to their chapters and legions. They will often follow their battle brothers into damnation or extinction rather than abandon them. Even when they do abandon their chapter or legion, often they will still wear their heraldry and colours, proclaiming themselves to be true examples of their legion and the rest of their brothers to be a bunch of silly gooses. However, there are times when a Space Marine, through extreme circumstances, will just straight up abandon their legion or chapter, joining up with another one and being accepted as an equal. No, I am not just talking about black shields, those who scrub their legion and go rogue. I'm talking about full-on legion hopping. Since it's so rare and the requirements for this to happen are so extreme, it actually makes for some seriously interesting lore. Before we get started, I would always much rather talk about things I'm working on or my own brands during these intro segments rather than promote another brand. That is why I only promote sponsors of companies I'm already a customer of, and why I love promoting stuff like Dice Dioramas or Major Minis. Well, as I've said in a previous video, I'm also launching my own supplement brand called Natty Plus Subs, with the idea of why take dozens of different single ingredient supplements, paying $30 for each bottle, when you can just crush synergistic supplements together. See, most of what's in a supplement is filler, as if you take 250 milligrams of something, that only really fills a quarter to a half of a normal capsule. But if you replace the filler with more ingredients to boost the effect of the original supplement, you're taking the same amount of capsules but getting more benefits. This is what I used to take. This is what I am taking now. I'm spending a third of the money and taking a third of the supplements. It just makes sense. All of our ingredients are backed with scientific studies, are all natural, no drug testing failing nonsense. If you think it's just snake oil, just Google the sups or use ChatGPT. We ran our own human trials and the test booster netted a 50% increase in testosterone, and the liver support stack massively reduced liver enzyme count, which is a good thing by the way. I was taking the liver support stack while binge drinking in Europe, and my liver enzymes have never been lower. This shit works, and if you don't believe it, then no worries, don't buy it. The supplements are launching in about 10 days, so we're running a 50% off pre-sale sign-up waitlist. So you sign up, on launch you get a 50% discount code. We will never run this discount again. It's a way of saying thank you for supporting us, as well as getting the product out there. Link is below. Today we'll go over each time a Space Marine defected to a new chapter and legion, either willingly or unwillingly. Let's get into it. Now, it is hard to say what dictates a genuine move from one legion to another. Many of the shattered legions grouped up into warbands. At times, those warbands were like 100 Iron Hands, 1 Salamander, 1 Raven Guard. Does that mean that the Salamander and Raven Guard joined the Iron Hands Legion? Fuck no, it doesn't. It was just how the cookie crumbled, and they would have gladly rejoined their legions at the first opportunity, so I won't be counting them. I'll start with the more broad strokes of legion defection before we drill down on the individual characters who had their own interesting motivations, which basically means this video gets cooler the longer you watch it. Aha, take that algorithm. Technically, every member of the Black Legion is made up of defectors from all other legions and chapters. It was born from the ashes of the Sons of Horus, but also gained a ton of warriors from other legions. Iskander Kaon, Abaddon's right-hand man, left the Thousand Sons to join the Black Legion. Likewise, his inner circle is made up of a former Wordbearer, a former Emperor's Children, a former World Eater, a former Iron Warrior, and a former Death Guard. So the Black Legion is the best example of mass legionnaire defection. But Chaos Legions do chaotic shit, so it's expected from them. It's more so the Loyalist defections that are more interesting. On the Loyalist side, the other broad stroke example is all the Loyalist Marines from Traitor Legions who lived long enough to form Malcador's Knights Errant. Nathaniel Garro forsook his Death Guard origins. The Knights Errant also included World Eaters, Night Lords, Emperor's Children, Iron Warriors, and so on. Garviel Loken defected from the Sons of Horus to become a Lunar Wolf once again, the last of his kind by the end of the Heresy. Many of the Knights Errant, well pretty much all the Psyker Knights Errant, would go on to become the founding members of the Grey Knights, so they technically did end up doing a double defection. A pretty interesting one, which while it doesn't really count, it's still worth mentioning, is the case of Torgan Khan of the White Scars. On Terra, he was training to become an Astartes. More accurately, he was in the Lunar Wolves recruitment program. He idolized Horus, and his philosophies aligned with the Lunar Wolves. However, he just missed the cut and instead became a White Scar, something he resented. So when the War Master tried to get the White Scars on his side, Torgan was one of the White Scars who went traitor and tried to usurp the Legion. If he was successful, I would have no doubt he would have eventually migrated to the Sons of Horus, potentially replacing one of his pauldrons with an Eye of Horus, but the uprising was ended by an extremely pissed off Jagadai Khan. The Raven Guard and Night Lords are often seen as two sides of the same coin. Both have black eyes, both like jump packs and lightning claws, both are stealth specialists. However, where the Raven Guard are the greater of the two to in stealth, the Night Lords are the masters of terror. So it may come as not too much surprise that there has actually been a fair bit of defection between the two legions during the Horus Heresy. Kasati Nuon was disgusted by the Night Lords who betrayed the Emperor, slaughtering many of his brothers before he joined up with the Raven Guard and was adopted by them for the rest of the heresy, fighting in the battles of Cariandru and the Battle of Yarant. He was fully immersed and only left when Corvus ordered all non-true Raven Guard elements of the legion to go to Terra and prepare its defenses. On the flip side, Alastol Rushal was a Raven Guard who joined up with the Night Lords. It's unclear how this defection occurred, but it seems like he survived the Dropside massacre and was captured by the Night Lords. He indicated that he was happy to join the Night Lords if it meant he would survive, so the Night Lords tortured him and cut off his tongue before allowing him to join their ranks. Sevatar liked him a lot and even called him the Raven. Eventually, the Raven would actually become a high-ranking Night Lord, joining the Chiroptera, a council of captains, and even becoming one of Sevatar's closest allies, wearing his Raven Guard armor the entire time. Solid turnaround. Seems like the Night Lords are actually pretty popular, as this wasn't the only case of Marines defecting to join them. Variel the Flayer was a very esteemed member of the Red Corsairs. He was their second highest ranking apothecary, enjoyed a lot of privileges, and was even chosen by Huron Blackheart as one of his warriors to attend to and treat his horrific injuries. He was also close friends with Talos, a respected Night Lord captain of First Claw. When the Night Lords sought aid from the Red Corsairs, they noticed the Corsairs controlled a Night Lord strike cruiser. This was an insult to the Night Lord Legion, and Talos vowed to get it back. He invited Variel to join the Night Lords as a brother, and Variel accepted, ditching his warband and helping the Night Lords steal back their Legion ship, killing a lot of Red Corsairs in the process. Variel would go on to wear Night Lord's armor and colors, being fully embraced as a part of the Legion, and even going on to be the only survivor of First Claw. Dude must have hated the color red or something. In a more tragic tale of Legion defection, Reviel Avida was sent away from Prospero before the wolves attacked, returning home to find his world a ruin. Even worse, he and his brothers were attacked by World Eaters, with himself being the only survivor. He was forced to wander his destroyed home, fighting off predators and parasites until the White Scars came and saved him. He became their ward, fighting alongside them as a powerful sorcerer and loyalist. They taught him much of their way and embraced him as a brother. They even fashioned a new pauldron for him which honoured both his old legion and his new one. However, out of respect for the Thousand Sons, Arvida initially refused the honour and was proud of his heritage, but for all intents and purposes, he was now a part of the White Scars and would remain so until he was merged with the noble shard of Magnus and became Janus, the first Grand Master of the Grey Knights. So you could say he went from a Thousand Son to a White Scar to a Grey Knight. Not bad. In another example of a Space Marine ditching his legion to join another but still honouring his old, we have Barabbas Dantiok. He was once Perturabo's favoured son, but when he poked holes in his Primarch strategy, he was banished. When an Iron Warrior envoy came to him to tell him that he was now a traitor, Dantiok was like, okay buddy, and then proceeded to obliterate the shit out of an entire Traitor Legion siege force, capture their ship, and escape to Ultramar. He then more or less became an Ultramarine siege master, working alongside the Loyalists until his noble death. This is a bit of a stretch though, since at no point would Dantiok have considered him anything else other than a true Iron Warrior, but in practice he was pretty ultra. This next one is pretty wild, but one of my absolute favourite examples. There exists an Alpha Legion warband with no Alpha Legionnaires in it. Well, they are, but they don't have Alpha Legionnaire gene seed. They are made up of a Mentor, a Relictor, a Fallen Dark Angel, a Night Lord, and a Nova Marine. This warband considers themselves loyal to the Emperor, and actively attempts to cull weak parts of the Imperium. These would be the type of Alpha Legionnaires who would find out about a Chaos plot to invade an important Imperial world, so they would attack it and do minor damage to it before running away, drawing a large Imperial force to it so the planet would be more prepared for the main Chaos assault to come. That sort of wacky yet effective Alpha Legionnaire loyalist shit. The final example of today I can name is cool because it's one of a kind. See, when most Marines change Legion, Chapter, or Warband, it's usually going from a loyalist to a traitor or vice versa. A Marine changing from one loyalist chapter to another pretty much never happens, as the first chapter approving it is unlikely, the second chapter approving it is also unlikely, and the Marine not getting executed for desertion or heresy is also really unlikely. However, a Space Marine from the Mentors chapter, after a shitload of fuckery that I won't delve into because it almost needs its own video, ends up leaving his chapter and joining the Emperor's Spears, going from one loyalist chapter to another one in a permanent capacity. The only case of this happening I have actually ever seen. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then join the Natty Plus subs waitlist. This will net you a 50% off discount at launch. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more defective content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.